The Boston Bruins get a much-needed win, and against the Toronto Maple Leafs, nonetheless. This game is going to set the Bruins up exactly how they want to going forward, and this game is going to be the start of a brand new Bruins team. We're going to be talking about this game, how this game really affected the outcome of what we're going to see in the next coming weeks for the Boston Bruins, as well as a roster move the Bruins made that is going to lead to a Tyler Johnson signing. We're going to be talking about all of this here in this video. Before we do, though, we also 70% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you're looking for a spot to get all of your Boston Bruins news, you're in the right spot. Hit the sub button, join me here on the channel. We're covering everything Boston Bruins related. And without any further ado, let's get into this game. We need to talk about this. This is a major bounce back win, and exactly the situation the Bruins needed this. There could have been many other games that they could have won, but this game was, I think, the most important for them to win going forward for the rest of the season, and especially to get a big bounce back here after a very slow start. I want to pull up here first the stat card for this. On Twitter, really goes to show the players' ability on the ice in this game, and as you can see, majority positive, and that's a big thing we wanted, especially Nikita Zadorov, Andrew Peeke, we see Cole Koepke, Justin Brazeau, Mark Kassick, the guys who are normally there, but we're also seeing David Pastrnak, Brad Marchand, Elias Lindholm, a lot of the guys that we normally see, unfortunately, at the bottom for the beginning of the season, are now right up there, where we want to see them, where we have to see them, and this game was really the one that set us apart from the rest of the season, and put us on a brand new, fresh slate for the upcoming games. Now, they're off completely today, but that's deserved. You got to sit back, look at this game, learn from this, and go forward. But as you can see, this is what I wanted to pull up. Really just goes to show the majority of this is very positive, and that's one thing we wanted to see. Mason Lohrei, however, keep his name in mind there for something later on in this video, at the bottom. But I didn't hate what I saw from him, and obviously a goal against on the defensive side of things will lower their score, so you have to take that into consideration as well. But when we're moving on to the next one, we've seen a lot of moves that Jim Montgomery had made to this roster to try to figure out what worked, and this seems to be the game where we actually saw something that we really liked, something that worked, something that clicked on this lineup. And looking at what we had in the pregame lineup, now this did change going a little bit later in the second and beginning of the third, but the lineup in the Bruins warm-up was pretty similar to what we had seen before on the forwards. Back to kind of Zacha on that first line, Matt Poitras on the second line right wing. I did like that when moving Morgan Geekie down to that third line center, and Cole Koepke, John Beecher, and Mark Kassick are back together. So realistically, just Poitras for Geekie is that one change here in this lineup. And we're kind of expecting, some things to finally click, and it finally did, but the defense was quite a different scenario. Mason Lohrei on the first line with Charlie McAvoy. And as you've seen, Mason Lohrei at the bottom of the stat card, but once again, that's a lot due to goals against on the defensive side of things, but I didn't hate it. That's one thing I think a lot of people were definitely wondering, and Nikita Zadorov on the third line, another very interesting thing, pretty much just a one-for-one swap of those guys. But this is something that I don't think is going to stick, because we know Nikita Zadorov is going to be very, very good. We know that struggling a bit in the penalty side of things, but that will be cleaned up here and there eventually. We just got to wait for that, and hopefully it's sooner rather than later. But this could be a little awakening for Nikita Zadorov, knowing that even though they signed him to be a first-pairing defenseman with Charlie McAvoy, his job isn't necessarily a given here in this scenario, especially when he's taking too many penalties, which is detrimental to the Bruins, to their game, and resulting in a lot of these losses that we have seen in a direct and indirect way in resulting from the penalties. So the defense here was something I think we might see a bit of toying around with. Now, I wouldn't say this is, as I said, it's not going to stick, just because I don't think Mason Lohrei is fully ready for that first line yet, but it ultimately did work. The lineup was working the way we saw it wanted to, and we've seen the Bruins really take control of this game, which is something that we really haven't seen at all in this season whatsoever, really. And that's something that we're going to need to see. We know that the Bruins can take control of a game, especially with the lineup, the size, not the speed that they have, but they can definitely use their movement, the puck movement and the size to really take control of a game against any team. And an overtime win, nonetheless, was a really good point for Brad Marchand, for the Boston Bruins, for both of them. Really just kind of get the monkey off the back and start off fresh, and I think that was another big thing as well. And we do have a quote here from Jim Montgomery, but what Brad Marchand had to say, or not what he had to say, but how he was feeling. This is what Jim Montgomery had to say. You could tell how happy he was on the bench, or the bench was when he scored. He's our leader. He's somebody that embodies what it is to be a Bruin the right way, the way he cares himself. He's our captain, and it goes to show that this lineup still is fully on board with Brad Marchand, still fully there with him, and they know that it's just going to be a slump here and there, and that will happen, but you can tell that this lineup wants to see Brad Marchand do good, and really, this goes hand in hand with the contract extension that was reported from Elliot Friedman yesterday. Ultimately, nothing came out of that, shut down by Brad Marchand. We will have a video about that later, once again, going deeper into it and what a contract could look like, but it goes to show that this team is still fully with Brad Marchand. They're with him here in every up and down of his career, I guess we could say, of this season especially. We're going to be back. We're going to be back, and I think the roster is very happy to see that Brad Marchand kind of got that monkey off his back and good to go. But as we move on to the box score here as well, I did want to pull this up, kind of just show what we're looking at in this game. And Nikita Zadorov, the +2 in this game was major. That was a very, very big thing in the bounce back side of things, but the puck was once again spread around throughout all 4 lines here. We've seen, obviously, the Brad Marchand overtime goal, David Pastrnak scoring one, Mark Kaslik getting another one, a third of the season, Justin Brazeau getting one, and these really were just exactly what we need to see. We need to see everybody going, and it's a good sign that it's not just one line going, like we've seen from the 4th line. Every single line here, no matter if it was before or after the change, really seemed to just be working at 100%, seeming to be ready to go at any point, and that's what we've been waiting for. We've been waiting for these games. The team just seem to forget that they're in a slump and really just go to play the way they know they can play against a Toronto Maple Leafs team, and we're going for the win and just kind of forgetting everything that had happened the past few weeks. And hopefully that this will start again now. This will start where you're just going to remember the Maple Leafs game. That's it. You don't remember the rest of the season. You go from there. That's a big thing as well. But I think the real big reason that this game was a successful one and a big win was the limited penalties that the Bruins took. Took 4, and obviously that's still not great, but that's much better from what we've seen before. The Maple Leafs power play we know is dangerous, and ultimately worked well. They didn't do too much with the power play, and looking at Trent Frederic, Charlie Coyle, John Beecher, Morgan Geekie, these are not guys that have really been in the penalty struggles too much this season, so a lot of these were just something that is going to happen in the run of a game, but it's not these guys. It's not Zadorov. It's not any of the guys who've been taking penalties on a regular basis, which is a very, very good sign, and hopefully that gets cleaned up just the tiniest bit more before we head into some more games, because we can't afford to take too many penalties, and we've seen what taking limited penalties here in this game results in, and it resulted in a big win against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And we're looking at this now. We're looking at the upcoming games, and we know that once we beat the Toronto Maple Leafs, a very good team, and probably one of the best in the NHL, as much as we hate to say it, we can beat many other teams in the NHL, and this is going to be a good sign pointing forward to that. And with that, there could be some more roster moves being made, and we have a major roster update regarding Riley Tufte, who had been sent down to the AHL and now confirmed that he has not been claimed on waivers, and he is going to be assigned to Providence, which means the Bruins have some cap space to sign Tyler Johnson. Now, Tyler Johnson is still ready to be on this team, seeming to be. He's on practice on occasion, obviously not with the team in specific, but he's hanging around, sticking around, ready for that contract, and I think it could come as early as today that we see a Tyler Johnson contract. Although we've seen a better team here last game against the Toronto Maple Leafs, we still need that help. We can't exactly go into it thinking that this team is fully back. We know there's still going to be a few mistakes here and there, but Tyler Johnson will be a needed player to get into this roster. We never know when someone starts to get back into that slump, someone gets hurt and whatnot. And we really want a guy who's NHL ready to be a Bruin and ready to play at full potential. And Tyler Johnson is the embodiment of that type of player. So this is big. We're seeing Riley Tufte sent down. We now have the cap space enough to sign Tyler Johnson. So do you think we're going to sign Tyler Johnson? Do you think that we have him in the bag? Do you think he's going to be signed to be a Boston Bruin as early as today? Let me know what you think. And also let me know what you think about this game. Obviously a very, very big one that the Bruins absolutely needed. And hopefully we do see more from this. But that's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. If you reach this point in the video and you're not subscribed, hit the sub button. Why not? We have a lot of Bruins news coming at you every day. But that's all I got in this video. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.